In this lesson, you're going to learn about the transform tool, and you might be thinking, why do we need a transform tool to resize shapes? Can't I just draw out, for example, a rectangle here, and then use one of the arrows up at the top, selection tools, and click and drag the corner? And a lot of our different shapes have this. Just make sure you have view and then show bounding box. But the free transform tool provides a couple more options and ways to transform shapes. So go ahead and draw some kind of shape out. I just have a rectangle here for this example, and then select the free transform tool, and you'll notice this little dialog comes up here. And you can click and drag and move it around, but just clicking and dragging on the top part there. Now this first part you might have seen either in Photoshop or Illustrator is constrained proportion. So if I have that selected and I click and drag the corner here, it's going to maintain the same aspect ratio of height to width from the original. So if I have that unchecked, then I can more freely transform it. This one's selected by default, free transform. What that does is, well, you can resize. You can hold shift on the keyboard and then resize things with that same constrained proportion. You can also hover off the corner and click and drag and rotate and so on. And a quick tip, if you hold down Alt and click and drag the side here, it's going to also resize on the right. And if you hold down Alt and click and drag the top, it'll bring the bottom up as well. And if you hold Alt or Option on the Mac, you can click and drag the corner here and it will bring all four corners in. If you hold Shift, it'll maintain the original. So if you're drawing some kind of logo and you want a picture frame look, you can create one, copy and paste it, and then adjust the next one to be something like that. So the next one is perspective distort, and what that is if you click and drag the corner here, it's going to change either the bottom part or the side and give it some perspective. So you can click and drag it and move it around like so. And then the bottom one is free distort. So this one's really just, you can distort a shape and just really customize it depending on what kind of shape we want to create. So I'll give you one more example. If we go to ellipse tool, and I'm going to click and drag this circle out here and select the free transform tool, and it's the same thing. If you click and drag that inward, if you hold shift, it will maintain the original proportion, or if you have that selected. And again, if you hold Alt on the PC or Option on the Mac, it's going to resize it on all the sides instead of just the top or the bottom. Hold shift to maintain that proportion. And then perspective distort looks a little bit different with a ellipse, and then free transform. You can also rotate this. So if I rotate this on the side, you'll notice the rotation points in the middle. Just like the rotate tool, if I click and drag that and move that over here and rotate it, that's going to rotate around that rotation point instead. So that's a free transform tool. It can be pretty useful when we're wanting to really customize shapes that we've drawn. I'll see you in the next lesson.